Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Friska Nurshadrina. I'm from English Education Department at the 5th semester, State Islamic University of Alauddin, Makassar. Here, I'll explain about curriculum and instructional development. In this opportunity, I'll explain 3 stages about curriculum and instructional development. The first is preliminary phase, consists of making decision on need analysis. The second is gather information in need analysis. The third is using the information in need analysis. The second stage is development phase, consists of selecting and organizing course content. The second is developing the teaching materials. And the last is reviewing and validating the teaching materials. For the last stages is reviewing phase, consists of teaching instructional materials. The second is evaluating learning outcomes, and the last is summative evaluations. Well, for the first is about preliminary phase. Well, for the first is making decision on need analysis. Well, there are several basic decisions that curriculum or syllabus designer need to think about before any analysis can occur, namely deciding who will involve the need analysis, what kind of information should be collected, and which viewpoint should be presented. Well, according to Brown, there are 4 categories of people who can be involved in need analysis. The first is a target group. Target group is people about whom information will ultimately be collected. For example, students in a program, teachers, administrators, and graduates. The second is the audience. The people who will ultimately be asked to account the analysis, such as teacher assistant, program administrator, or supervisors in the above of language program. The third is need analysis. Need analysis is the people responsible for conducting the need analysis. The fourth is search group. The people who serve as searches of information about the target group, for example, parents, potential employees, or professor of the student content course. The next step is to decide on the types of information needs. Having decided on the people who will involve the need analysis, it is necessary to consider 4 different philosophies that generally exist in need analysis, because these philosophies will affect the type of information needs. The first is this discrepancy philosophies. This philosophies is information needs as a discrepancy between desired performance of students and what they actually do. The second is democratic philosophy. This philosophy, the type of information that views the analysis as any change desired the majority of groups involved, such as students, teachers, and administrators. And the third is analytic philosophy. This philosophy is a collection of information that views need a survey of existing one. The second is gathering information in need analysis. In this step, the curriculum or syllabus planner must be described the area of information that is intended to collect by the first deciding on the philosophy of needs analysis, and then limiting the type of information from different type of the question, type of instruments, and characteristic of procedures. For example, the first is, for example, according to Rose, There are 5 categories of questions that can be asked for need analysis to identify problem, priorities, abilities, and attitudes. The first is question to identify the problem. A question about this that you experience with your English when you talk to a native speaker in target group. As an example, what types of problem are given to identify problems that are being experienced by the community, for example, students, teachers, and administrators. The second is priority question. This type of question generally investigates what topics, language use, skills are considered most important to learn. The third is ability question. Student-focused questions themselves are usually related to students' ability at the admissions, such as question in pre-test used to measure students' overall language skill or to diagnose their specific weakness. The third is attitude question. A question designed to reveal information about participation's feel and attitude toward program elements. For example, do you feel that students learn English better and more efficiently by studying grammar point, language function, or a combination? The fifth is solution question, a question that generates idea for a solution to understand the problem in terms of what change might bring out a compromise and resolutions. For the third is using the information and need analysis. The discussion of this research will explain how to evaluation strategy is. In other words, the need analysis will be the basis of developing tests, materials, teaching activities, and analyzing results used in curriculum or syllabus design. Therefore, it becomes a rational basis for all other components of the curriculum and syllabus. Need analysis from the aspect of making basic decisions about need analysis and information gathering process for designing of future syllabus of language programs. The need analysis process can generate many valuable inputs. For the second stage is development phase. For the first is inputs for second stage ini the goals and object of the course formulated from inventory of need in stage, and the content of a syllable design. The term objectives refers to general statement for sign that reflection the ideological basic on curriculum. In addition, goals are more specific than goals. Then break down the objectives into smaller learning units and usually describe learning outcomes in terms of what the learner will be able to do at the end of the course. The formulation of course goals and objectives will allow the syllable designer to undertake 3 main activities in this phase, namely selection the content of syllabus, designing syllabus, and developing teaching materials. For the first is selecting and organizing course content. This activity is carried out to select the main topic and determine the order in which the topic will be presented in class. Information from linguistic need and consultation with teachers can be used to obtain an initial list of course topics to be include the syllable contents. The second is reviewing and validating the teaching materials. This activity is carried out to map the logical sequence of a course structure into the syllabus design as a fundamental instrument for teaching effectively. Therefore, designing a syllabus needs to choose a syllabus framework, competency-based syllabus, or mixed syllabus because it combines 2 or more types of syllabus framework. The third is developing the teaching materials. This activity refers to mapping course content in terms of instructional sections or blocks using the syllabus framework as a guide. An instructional block represents in the instructional focus on a course which may be very specific in one lesson or more general in a unit of work consisting of several lessons. Instructional block representations can be initially created by writing lesson plans prior to compiling textbook teaching materials for a course. A lesson plan is certainly necessary as it serves as a roadmap for the class session. The output of stage is the first is syllabus framework, what is used as a guide for writing lesson plans for a course. The second is lesson plans for a course in all units and topics. The second is a set of the third is the set of teaching materials that are usually related to a lesson to be learned in the skill or ability to be developed. And before implementing teaching material, they need to be reviewed by experts. The review is carried out to ensure that teaching materials have been developed properly and are ready to be used according to assessment of the expert. And the last stage is reviewing past. The input of this three stage is the syllabus framework plans and a set of teaching materials that will be implemented and evaluated in this process. The reviewing stage is associated with the process of describing the result of experimental teaching materials in the classroom, recording the content of the lesson developed. Example, syllabus and teaching materials. Therefore, this phase must begin with teaching progress and evaluating learning outcomes. The first is about teaching materials. Refers to activities undertaken by a teacher to facilitate language learning, to inform learners about a language, to provide an experience of language being used, and to help learners find a language for themselves. The teaching of teaching materials to examine the effect of teaching material on the improvement of the target student language skill. To determine the effect of teaching materials, this design uses summative evaluations. Okay, the second is summative evaluation. Refers to examination of what has been learned at the given point in the time, example at the end of the unit or the course. It is based on cumulative learning experience, tests for achievement and mastery of specific performance goals. The evaluation procedure was adapted from Kirkpatrick in 1996. The summative evaluation model, namely student direction, pre-test, post-test, and the teacher perception. The first is student direction. For the first level of evaluation is done by assessing direction or attitude student after learning with teaching materials. The instrument used at this level can be questionnaire with a Likert scale and open-ended question. The second is learning, that is pre-test and post-test. This second level evaluation aims to measure what students have learned from the material presented by comparing their performance before and after receiving instruction. Given test is considered very effective to show that learning has occurred as a result of instruction. Therefore, the effectiveness of the course content trials can be measured by comparing the students' scores on the test given at the beginning of the class pre-test with their scores on the test given at the end post-test. The third is teachers' perceptions. This type of evaluation requires the teacher to be involved in determining the a student can actually use everything they have learned from the teaching materials provided. And the teacher's role is to review learning outcomes by assessing student performance and skill after teaching student with teaching materials. Well, those were some of the points that I explained it about curriculum and instructional development related to preliminary phase, development phase, and the reviewing phase, which including several information sections on how to design, present, and evaluate. So, in my opinion, in curriculum development, I suggest to English teacher and student that in developing everything that I have described above, uh, described previous, it is inseparable from being serious about analyzing needs and presenting data properly between teacher and students collaboration, of course. And I want to thank several people who met and supported me to make this video. Well, thank you so much. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.